With all his strength, Liam, a 13-year-old, exerted himself as he pedaled his bicycle, desperately trying to suppress thoughts of leaving his hometown forever. He was on a determined journey from the suburbs where he had spent his entire life with his mother. Sadly, Bella Rachel had succumbed to pneumonia 7 months prior, and since then, Liam's life had become unbearably challenging. This hardship stemmed from the fact that following his mother's passing, Liam found himself in the care of his aunt Madison, who harbored disdain for him, viewing him as a burden. Upon her sister's demise, Madison swiftly moved into her late sister's home with her 2 sons, immediately establishing her own rules within the household. From the very first day, Liam was the target of his cousin's contempt, who considered him a hapless underdog. Worn down by the incessant bullying from Jack and Luca, Liam decided to embark on a journey to Chicago, a dream he had nurtured for several weeks. He pedaled vigorously, determined to reach the city before nightfall. Numerous vehicles passed by the young boy, but none showed any interest in the child or his arduous journey. Eventually, Liam reached the city and upon turning onto a quiet street, decided to take a moment to catch his breath. He had no desire to venture into downtown, where heavy traffic posed a significant risk of collision with a car. Suddenly, an unusual sound behind him caught Liam's attention, vaguely resembling the noise of someone munching. He quickly turned around and was taken aback by the sight of an elderly man seated on a bench. The man's disheveled and grimy attire hinted at his homelessness, a common sight in a large city. Beside him, there lay a paper bag from which he occasionally retrieved pastries, audibly savoring each bite. Observing the old man enjoying his meal, Liam became acutely aware of his own hunger, and his mouth watered instantly. It had been several hours since he had fled from home, and during that time he had only consumed water. Sensing Liam's longing gaze, the homeless man let out a grunt and remarked, "What's up, kid? Are you hungry? Here, help yourself. There's enough for both of us." Liam needed no further encouragement, and soon found himself devouring the warm pastry generously offered by the old man. It would later become apparent that the homeless man's name was Matthias Gold, and he had been residing in an abandoned house on the corner of Park Street for several years. Upon learning that Liam had run away from home, Mr. Gold shook his head disapprovingly, but refrained from passing further judgment. Mr. Gold understood Liam, who had fled a troubled household like few others could. "If you want, you can spend the night with me. There's enough room in the house. But I should warn you, this neighborhood can get pretty noisy. There are bikers living next door, but I've grown accustomed to it, so the motorcycle noise doesn't bother me anymore," the old man informed Liam, crumpling the now empty paper bag. Liam eagerly accepted the offer, and within an hour he found himself lying on an aging bed generously provided by Mr. Gold. Mr. Gold settled onto a worn, creaking sofa, and in less than 5 minutes the boy was softly snoring, his cheeks nestled into the pillow. The fatigue from his long journey had finally caught up with him, and only his achy calves served as a reminder of the arduous day he had endured. The following morning, Liam awoke to the soft rays of the sun filtering through the loosely hung curtains of his bedroom. Mr. Gold was already up, tending to a modest breakfast on the battered electric stove, which consisted of a couple of eggs and a slice of bacon. Liam sniffled and smiled. He found himself appreciating this life. While Mr. Gold's home may not have resembled a dream house, it was still a home, and, most importantly, Liam was free from the taunts and insults that had plagued him. Matthias Gold turned out to be a kind man who not only read books to Liam, but also gently encouraged the boy to delve into subjects like writing and mathematics. The old man recognized that Liam was thrust into an adult world prematurely, and being illiterate would pose significant challenges for him. Mr. Gold also introduced Liam to Jackson Luke, the leader of the biker club, dressed in leather jacket and pants. Jackson immediately showcased his Harley-Davidson motorcycle, and Liam, awestruck, asked, "Wow, can I have a ride?" "Of course you can. Just grow up a bit first, and then you're welcome to give it a try," Jackson replied with a smile. He enjoyed watching the boy's fascination with the biker's free-spirited life on the open road and the thunderous roar of the engines. To Mr. Gold's delight, Liam became a frequent visitor to the biker club under Jackson Luke's leadership. Even more satisfying was the boy's active participation in the maintenance and repair of the motorcycles, learning so much about engines and motorcycle brands that he became as skilled as a professional mechanic. "We've got a future mechanic among us, mark my words. This boy is going places," Mr. Gold declared with a friendly wink to Jackson Luke. Several years passed swiftly, during which the little and frail Liam transformed into a tall, handsome young man who took pride in his tattered jeans and a leather jacket adorned with numerous zippers and rivets. Unfortunately, as Liam entered adulthood, Mr. Gold's health took a serious downturn after recently celebrating his 70th birthday. Sadly, multiple chronic illnesses had taken their toll on the old man, who had spent a significant portion of his life on the streets. Matthias Gold peacefully passed away in his sleep on a day when a beautiful rainbow appeared in the sky after a long and heavy rain. Losing the only person who had cared for him was incredibly challenging for Liam. To compound his troubles, Jackson, Luke, and the rest of the bikers decided to disband their club, citing pressure from local authorities and legal issues. Jackson expressed his intention to return to his homeland in Idaho, a quiet and peaceful place, and he wanted to leave something behind for Liam. Handing over the keys to his bike, Jackson told the young man, "Take my bike, it's yours now." After an emotional exchange, they promised to reunite in the future. Now, riding Jackson's Harley on the nocturnal streets of Chicago, Liam felt like a lone wolf living a solitary life. With no other place to go, he continued to reside in the old shack inherited from the late Mr. Gold. One fateful day, as he was riding by the river, Liam witnessed a horrific accident. One of the cars had careened off the road, ramming the guardrails and becoming stuck, precariously hanging over the river. Bystanders watched helplessly, waiting for rescue services to arrive. They informed Liam that the driver was still inside the car, suspended over the water. Determined, Liam retrieved a hammer from his glove compartment and approached the vehicle. With a few powerful blows, he shattered the rear window and carefully climbed inside. There, he found a terrified young woman, who happened to be the driver of the ill-fated car, in tears and unsure of what to do. "Come on, grab my hand quickly or we'll both fall into the river," Liam ordered in a firm and no-nonsense tone. Fortunately, the man didn't need to repeat his request, and the stranger immediately complied. It required a considerable amount of strength and effort for Liam to pull the woman out of the dangerous spot and take her a few yards away from the perilous edge. Just at that moment, the car teetered ominously and plunged into the river, eliciting a storm of raucous applause from the captivated onlookers who had witnessed the entire incident. "Are you okay? We need to get out of here before the police and reporters arrive. Hold on tight," Liam urged as he started the engine of his motorcycle. In just a couple of minutes, the two were on their way downtown, where they could easily blend into the heavy traffic. Meanwhile, Liam couldn't help but enjoy the feeling of the young woman's arms securely wrapped around his waist. It was revealed later that the name of the stranger he had rescued was Kinsley Quinn, and her parents were affluent business people. Her father had recently gifted her a brand new Ford as an early birthday present. Regrettably, the car was challenging to control, and Kinsley had crashed it while speeding. "You're lucky you didn't get hurt. It could have been much worse," Liam remarked. Kinsley replied with a sigh, "I don't think there's anything lucky about the situation. Now I'll have to tell my father what happened, and he's very strict." A wave of sympathy washed over Liam as he looked at the young woman standing before him. Kinsley was an attractive young woman with beautiful blue eyes that reminded Liam of his late mother. Despite the earlier chaos, the two spent the rest of the day conversing about a myriad of topics and developed a strong mutual connection. As darkness descended, Liam drove Kinsley home, mustering the courage to overcome his timidity and asking if he could see her again the next day. Little did they know that this fateful encounter would lay the foundation for their future relationship, filling their lives with love and tenderness. Seeing each other daily, Liam and Kinsley grew deeply attached in a matter of days. Unfortunately, James William, Kinsley's father, did not share his daughter's enthusiasm for this budding relationship. He was determined to rid her of her biker boyfriend as soon as possible. "Liam is a nice guy, but he's not the right match for you, daughter. I've already found someone more suitable for you within our social circle," the businessman declared, rising from the dinner table. "Dad, I love Liam and I don't want to be with anyone else," Kinsley protested, her hand gently touching her lips. Regrettably, the young woman had not anticipated the extent of her father's determination to separate them. James William was resolved to end their relationship at any cost. Consequently, he confined his daughter to their home and informed Liam that she was being married off. Naturally, Liam was infuriated and attempted to assert his rights, but the businessman's bodyguards promptly escorted him out onto the street. Frustrated and unsure of what to do, Liam found it unbearable to stay in Chicago, as everything in the city reminded him of Kinsley. Fed up with constant sadness, he decided to pack his belongings and return to his hometown, from which he had fled many years ago. However, Liam was in for a disheartening surprise. His late mother's house was in a state of disrepair, evidently left untouched for years. Liam realized that his mother had likely been the last person to carry out any maintenance on the property. As he hesitantly opened the door, an elderly Aunt Madison emerged to greet him, her eyes squinting in an attempt to identify the visitor. "Liam, is it you, my boy?" she asked in a trembling voice. Overwhelmed with emotion, Liam embraced Aunt Madison, avoiding her guilt-laden gaze. He soon learned that her sons, Jack and Luca, had embarked on a path of crime and were now serving a 3-year sentence for armed robbery in the county jail. Surprisingly, Liam felt no resentment towards her as he listened to her story. On the contrary, he was understanding and even offered to help repair the house. One day, while working on the fence, he heard a voice he recognized all too well. "Hi, darling, so this is where you've taken refuge?" Kinsley Quinn called out as she stood before him. Liam was taken aback. "What are you doing here? Did you run away? What about your wedding and your father?" he asked in astonishment. Kinsley shook her head. "No, I didn't run away. I really wanted to tell you, Liam, but the truth is that I'm pregnant," Kinsley confessed, her gaze downcast in embarrassment. "I told my father about it, and he understood, which changed his mind about our relationship. So here I am." Overjoyed by Kinsley's revelation, Liam couldn't contain his happiness. He scooped Kinsley up and twirled her around the yard as if she weighed no more than a feather. Their laughter filled the air, even bringing a smile to Aunt Madison's face as she sensed that something wonderful had occurred in her nephew's life. Liam couldn't stop spinning Kinsley, her dress billowing, as he basked in the joy of realizing that in 7 or 8 months, he would become a father and the head of a new family. Unbeknownst to him, Kinsley's father had generously gifted the young couple a car dealership, which would soon transform Liam from a simple biker into a millionaire. For now, Liam savored the beautiful moment that had instantly changed his life. He now had true love and a genuine family to look forward to.